Good day to Miss Evelyn Nakai. I'm presenting as Anele Prudent Potelo on the CDD711. And generally, there are problems that I've identified in terms of the curriculum in relation to the context of King Inzativet College. But as part of responding now to the identified problems that I'll be able to present later on, is that I have decided to theme my presentation that designing a responsive King Initiative College curriculum frameworks and informed syllabus content and that is aligned to the business industry standards and the community needs. My presentation will generate curriculum solutions towards the identified problems that I'll be able to interact upon in the context of King Inzativet College. King Inzativet College is situated in the Eastern Cape, which is very rural, formerly known as the Transkei region, which is comprises of 5 campuses: your Dujo campus, your Gandane campus, Tego campus, and Sobom campus, and the Willowville campus. I'll be able to identify the curriculum solution that must be implemented at King Inza. I'll be able to present that. I'll summarize assignment 1, assignment 2, and address all the 5 aspects indicated on the rubric in terms of the assessments. I'll also generate the solution, the curriculum solutions for the identified curriculum problem at King Inzativet College. I'll also choose the best solutions that I need to develop to ensure that King Inzativet College context can able to improve. The summary of assignment 1 is that both assignment 1 and assignment 2, the identified problems, the curriculum problems. One is that when we sat in the academic board as members of the academic board in the college, we have seen that our report 191 program policies and the guidelines are outdated. We have also picked up that the syllabus on its own, it is outdated, including the national certificate vocational, which is NCV, subject guidelines, assessment guideline, course content on its own, it is outdated and it needs to be reviewed. This is also backed here by the report by the Department of Higher Education 2014 as well as 2012. What we've picked up another problem is non-involvement in the participation of relevant stakeholders in terms of designing a curriculum that is informed and responsive. We've seen that there's a mismatch and serious gaps between the curriculum that is offered by our college vis-a-vis what is expected by the industry partners, to an extent that the course content of what is delivered in Report 191 and in CV, you'll find out that the material that is needed, it is no longer there. You find the equipment and the machinery for practicals is no longer there. It's irrelevant because of globalization and digitalization. We're experiencing a lot of challenges in terms of the curriculum delivery, such as currently we're not using ebooks. We're not yet there in terms of doing the online blended teaching and learning because of the situation that the ICT infrastructure is not able, and also we're having challenges with the network, the internet connection, as well as the load shedding. Our computer laboratories on themselves, they are very limited and unable to stomach all the students that are there. And teaching and learning either in online or it can only take place on site. Off-site, it's difficult because students are no longer having gadgets as well as the internet connection. I've scrutinized how old the curriculum it is. The curriculum is too old. The NCV curriculum was developed prior to 2007, and now it needs to be reviewed. The assessment guidelines, the practical assessment task on themselves, they need to review. Why? Because they are so irrelevant, they are outdated, and they do not respond to what is currently needed in terms of the business market industry. As well as the Report 191 business syllabus. The curriculum, it dates from 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s. We understand the FET Act that was introduced, 6 of 2006 that was introduced, and now it was amended to the Continuing Education and Training Act that says NCV program must respond to the current challenges and critical skills of the province. But how it can happen? It cannot happen without changing the curriculum on its own to ensure that it finds relevance. Same applies to Report 191. In as much as they want artisan, in as much as they want us to tap into the fourth industrial revolution, without changing the curriculum on its own, the policies, involvement of the business industry partners who are doomed to fail. So explicit indication of curriculum, whether it is in line or it fits to the different industries and its impact on the identified problem. Definitely, there is a lack of clear policy which allows how the business industry experts must play a meaningful role in the curriculum development. Why? Because the department have centralized designing of the curriculum, have centralized the implementation of the curriculum. They have centralized even how this must be delivered and when. So meaning which there is minimal role now which is played by the industry business partners. There is a mismatch therefore and the skills gap because the lecturers that we have in our TVET colleges does not possess the industry experience, whereby the industry expects now they were supposed to be transferring the knowledge that they have to our lecturers so that they can be blended and complement each other. It does not take place. We're unable to place our lecturers for work integrated learning. We're unable to place our students for work-based exposure training. Why? Because the industry partners are not on board and there are no formal workable relations and formal agreements that are in place which clearly stipulate how these partners must be able to play a meaningful role to ensure that practical side as well as the theoretical part of the curriculum it is implemented properly. So it needs a serious involvement of all these partners, and we must ensure that there is no mismatch between the curriculum that is offered by the TVET vis-a-vis the industry partner needs and the quality standards. The lecturer profiles that I'm having at King TVET College, specifically at Tujo campus, the 31 lecturers that I'm managing at Tujo campus, unfortunately, I do not have an HOD so far. It has not yet been appointed. I have 3 senior lecturers who are between ages of 40 to 45 years. They are holding the BEd honors each, and they are having more than 10 years of TVET experience. I have 28 lecturers who are between ages of 30 to 42, very young, professionally qualified, and they all possess the minimum qualifications required, such as holding a 3-year national diploma in an area of specialization, possibly in IT or maybe in public relations. They are also holding postgraduate certificate in education, or they are bachelor. Some of them they're having bachelor of education in economic management and science. 3 of my lecturers, unfortunately, are professionally unqualified, meaning which they do not possess a qualification in a teaching qualification, which enables them to have a teaching methodology, which is an identified training gap that must be able to be explored. 25 lecturers are competent as assessors, 19 they are competent as moderators, only 3 IT computer science lecturers that are possessing the industry. Consultation, the participation, and the input from students, lecturers, as well as the industry partners. In my engagement with the SRC, they've complained that there is minimal placement of students. There is minimal exposure of students to the work-based exposure training, to the work integrated training, which is detrimental because the theoretical knowledge that has been learned in the class, it needs to be now demonstrated in the actual workplace. Unfortunately, we do not have much of the workplaces, as well as there is evolution in the IT and the computer science related subjects that we are unable to keep up in terms of the technological equipment that we're having, the ICT infrastructure that currently we're having. Lecturers also have raised that drastic changes that the department are taking in terms of the curriculum, but they without proper consultation, and at times the introduction of these changes it does not even allow them to be inducted or orientated properly to understand it first, but they are expected to just implement it. So it also affects the program qualification mix, changes in terms of the courses that we offer. As now government is pro of occupational programs, the department will just say introduce these occupational programs without laying and helping infrastructure. It frustrates the lecturers. Same applies the industry experts. They are not on board, and most of the occupational programs that are currently offered, they need practical exposure training, which host employers we do not have. We do not have formal partnership with the industry partners because their role within our sector is not clearly defined. So in my opinion, curriculum development as well as the frameworks for colleges needs to change because they are outdated. Non-involvement and limited participation of business industry must be liberated off. We must ensure there's maximum participation. They must be there in designing the curriculum. They must be there of informing us the expectations of the business market industry currently. They must be there to advise us the technological equipment that is currently needed. Summary of assignment 2. Reasons why these issues they exist at college. It is because of the department have centralized in its approach how to design the curriculum. They have centralized it to an extent that we can able to advise subject experts, industry experts can able to advise on curriculum changes, can able to advise on the implementation, can able to advise on the educational technology that has evolved. And unfortunately, we have limited infrastructure also because of the limited funding. Our ICT infrastructure is not enabling. Students can't able to be taught outside or off-site. They can only take place on-site, meaning which the blended teaching and learning is yet doomed to fail. So there's a snail pace of department in terms of revising and integrated now continuous assessments as well as curriculum that is responsive towards the needs of the business industry as well as the needs of the community. Areas where these problems exist at the King Inza, yes, in terms of the curriculum policies, our syllabus is outdated. Our subject and assessment guidelines, they are irrelevant. We lack public-private partnership. So also the needed content and the context, outdated as it is, it does not match the expectations and the quality standards of what is needed by the market industry as well as the challenges that are faced by our community. Who is affected by these issues? One, the department on its own, the curriculum that is offered at TVET colleges, especially at King Inza, its integrity now and the validity is compromised. The quality of teaching, of blended teaching and learning, it is jeopardized. The business industry can't able to grow because the produce that we have does not match the demand in terms of the skills that they do, meaning which we're producing unskilled and semi-skilled people. Our college vision and the mission will unable to be achieved. Why? Because we are offering irrelevant curriculum. Lecturers are impacting knowledge that is outdated. Students are receiving information as well as the knowledge and the skills that are almost outdated. And the industry, they are accepting people who are having minimal skills that are needed in the job industry. So it is detrimental in that sense. So the considered solution and the problem towards this identified problem is that one, all the industry partners, strategic partners, they must come together. Your head, your campus management team, your college, your students, your lecturers, your industry business partners, they must come up, design a curriculum. They must implement the curriculum. They must decide on which ways to assess and measure both the theoretical part in the classroom as well as the practical part. And they must determine how long will it take for each host employer to host us, then both the lecturers as well as the students, in ensuring that there is integration between the theoretical work as well as the practical work in that particular. So those particular constitutions will be very much important. The curriculum solutions on the identified problems is that we must design inclusive curriculum with a policy that is clear in terms of reference. Who must do what? What is the role of the industry partners, business industry partners? What is the role of the Department of Higher Education, the college, the lecturers, as well as the students? Establish long-term business stakeholder partnership between the department as well as the public-private partnership. We must source sufficient funding to create at least enabling environment for ICT infrastructure in our college, and we must ensure that we have workable relations. The best workable solutions chosen for our responsive towards the King Inza is that we must establish an inclusive formal national training board. Umalus must come on board. The Quality Council for Trades and Occupations must come on board. The business industry partners, they must come on board. We must develop terms of reference of how each partner is going to play in that. We must decide and appoint the people that are going to manage both the assessment and the moderation of the theoretical part in classroom as well as the practical side in the industry partners. In conclusion, the curriculum framework and syllabus needs to change. It needs to be reviewed. And a reviewing of the syllabus and the curriculum development and the policies must, at the center, must have industry partners playing a huge role, 70% of that particular role. And all the partners must come together. Continuous engagement in terms of how the curriculum must be changed, how it must be implemented. They must be able to sit so that we can reflect as to what is going right and what is going wrong. So in all of the national, these are the solutions that I think they could better the situation at King Inza, especially King Inza TVET College. Our references are there: your Department of Higher Education Training 2012 Green Paper for Post-Schooling, as well as the DHEAD Strategic Plan 2014 to 2017, GEWA Improving Quality and Expanding Further Education and Training College System, as well as CRACK 3 decades of structuring further education and divergent outcomes of the different global vocational education and training. Umalusi also 2014 report on the quality assurance examination and assessment of the National Certificate Vocational.